What's going on, swim fans? I'm here with Olympic legend Rowdy Gaines. We're about to do this swim clinic.
Here comes Lisa! Unbelievable at the end! He's done it! Phelps is gonna win it.
He's gonna show us some skills, how to get faster, improve our technique. Before we get in, what is maybe one of the most important things that swimmers got to remember when they're thinking about their technique, how to swim faster? What would you really laser in on?
Well, Ferris, a lot of people need to learn, especially master swimmers. They should never be afraid to take risks. It's something that we shouldn't be afraid to fail. And you can teach that to an 8-year-old, right? But when you get to an older age, it's very difficult.
The most important word in the entire sport, what is that? Streamline! Streamline doesn't just mean coming off the ball. Streamline also means to be able to be streamlined while you're swimming. If he lifts his head up as he's breathing, or if he lifts his head up first and then takes the breath, that takes his body out of alignment. We want that swimming through that small hole.
I'm getting ready to call my 9th Olympic Games next summer in Paris. The sport we knew 20, 30, 40 years ago is completely different now. But today, we're going to concentrate on the basics, because even though the sport has changed, there are some real basic things that you need to know.
Okay, so here we're doing some drills, working on balance, working on kick, putting it all together from the legend. Go. Get your breath, grab, and accelerate power your core through rotation. You have to do it on both sides.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's the increased pressure, right? And the more your hands are out here, the more havoc is going to create with the stroke. And if you're swinging your arm, what's going to happen is you're going to end up crossing over on your head, which means you're going to cross over that midline, which means you're pushing water to the side. You're going to go this way. Exactly. Not exactly. What's going to happen is you're going to end up going through the water like this instead of like this. Right? All I want to do is keep that stroke there.
So right now we are doing some streamline drills, because streamline is the most important word in swimming. Starting with a good body position, reducing drag. We're starting to add the strokes gradually before we get to rotation. Then we're going to work on rotation. Rotation is important because if you don't leverage your core to drive the stroke, you're not going to be as efficient. So we start with streamline, then we add in the rotation with the pull, and it's coming together really nicely now.
If I'm stuck on a reserve diet and I could only do one exercise for the rest of my life, it would be working my stomach. The most important muscle you have in your body is your core. In an exaggerated way, you're going to drill to kind of handle what's going on. So what's going to happen is you're going to be on your side. You're going to be kicking. You're going to count to 3, down 1, down 2, down 3, and you're going to rotate to the other side. Or there's on making that transition. Down 1, down 2, down 3. 1, 2, 3. Your head is in line with your spine. Head straight down. When you have to breathe, you might be the whole time, that's okay. Your head's going to be just up to the side. You watch the best swimmers in the world. I can't even tell when they're breathing. I try to count the number of breaths some of these kids take when they're swimming, and I can't tell sometimes. It's just like they're sneaking a breath. So the same thing on this drill, sneak that breath. You have to think of a lot of different things, because everything has to fall into place for this drill to work, all right? So here we are laying down, and we're in this streamlined position. We're at 0 degrees. Here we are at what? 90, right? We're at 90 degrees. You need to be at 45 degrees, not 47 or 43, 45. But you need, and the reason is, if I'm like this, and I take my first stroke, it goes to Corinne's point, is I'm going to end up sweeping this way instead of coming back and down this way. What I mean by that is, you want to visualize a barrel out in front of you. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to wrap your arms over the barrel, increase pressure over the barrel. not across the barrel and not through the barrel, right? You're wrapping your arm over the barrel, because what that is going to do is that's going to help pivot your hip to get from one side to the next. What you're working is you're working your core. You're working on an exaggerated, nope, you're still not swimming 45 degrees, I get it, but 45 degrees from one side to the next, exaggerating that pitch out front to get those hips engaged. You gotta kick. This drill is definitely kick oriented. And that kick needs to be a very quick, short, electric, choppy, whatever you want to say. A kick helps you set up as well. But you want to feel the core engaged as you go from side to side.
Swim your own stroke. You know, be yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to copy Kayla Dressel or Katie Ledecky in their stroke technique, and you've said this on the video. You can't do that. You want to mimic some of their best qualities. You want to learn from them, but you really want to make sure that you do it in your way.
And right now the squat is doing some sculling. If you're not familiar, sculling is where you position your hands underneath the surface of the water and you really try and engage the entirety of the surface area to pull yourself forward. So you're not doing actual pulls, as Rowdy explained. Your fingertips might be a few inches underneath the surface. And what you're trying to do is have a gradual motion side to side, like you're frosting the top of a cake, to really engage your forearms so that way you can get a feel of what it's like to pull the most water. This really stimulates the nerve endings in your fingertips all the way through your forearms so you can catch the most water possible.
I want you to swim a 12-and-a-half freestyle, feeling that entry point of your catch. And feel what that skull feels like on your catch. So about halfway skull, halfway swim. Here we go. Ready, go. Now we're going to do mid-skull. So the mid-skull is sort of in that acceleration phase of our stroke, right? Elbows nice and high. Again, we're not pushing the water. Sculling the water back and forth. Elbows nice and high. I'm not going to teach you diddly squat about a start in a matter of 10 minutes. It ain't going to happen. I mean, I can give you some hints and things to think about, but the start develops over time. There are ways that you can actually work on reflexes. So I need a volunteer. Ferris, you're volunteering.
Okay, sure.
His hands are on top of mine. He's going to move his hands off of mine, however you need to get them off before I slap him. You can't cheat by tickling his hand. That's cheating, right? You can't do this. You can't jerk. You've got to let him work his reflexes, right? So each time though, you see he's looking, he's concentrating, he's focusing on reacting. That's all we're doing here. It's a different type of reaction, but we're reacting, right? Another one here is his hands are this way, and I'm going to be trying to slap him, and he's going to move them as quickly as possible, right? Oh man, you are. I usually get him pretty good, but he's fast. So each time though, you see how he's reacting, right? In fact, I was the very first swimmer ever to do a track sport, and I got disqualified. Did the start, did the race, and they DQ'd me because they said the start was illegal. You don't want to lean too far back, because the further back you go, especially as we get older, it's going to take more time to move forward, right? Somebody like a Kayla Dressel or Nathan Adrian are strong enough to lean a little bit further back because their explosive strength comes from their arms as well as their back leg, right? Knees slightly bent, feet facing forward, shoulder width apart.
This is the fastest you'll ever go. Like even when you push off the wall, it's not even close to the speed that you have from gravity allowing you to carry momentum. So if you don't nail the entry, it's game over. All right guys, we're about to go down. We're about to do a 25 sprint, and Rowdy Gaines is going to analyze my technique. I'm very excited about this.
I mean, we took 3 hours. We didn't even get to the other strokes, right? Because I love freestyle, and there's so many things to do with freestyle and starts and turns. But the basic principles of swimming, like I've seen your videos so many times over and over again, never really change, whether you're 8 or 80.